Esafal to declare his interest to participate in the December presidential race this evening. And vendors at the Latrikunda Sabiji market expressed concern over the poor drainage system. And in the internationals, COVID-19 has disrupted the treatment of cancer patients in Uganda. These and more stories coming your way on the news desk. It's 2:30 in Banjul. Hello and welcome to the news desk with me, Julde Suare. Now to the news in detail. The question whether TRRC lead counsel Esafal will join the race to the December presidential election is now apparent as the lawyer is set to announce his political ambition this evening. News around his candidature broke in July, which generated public debate in many quarters as the 3-year mandate of the commission came to an end. Mr. Fall is likely to throw his campaign on the Never Again slogan to human rights violations in the country. Details in this report.
Opposing views reign on whether or not the who spearheads the establishment of impartial historical records of human rights violations should become a politician in this transitional hour. A number of commentators have tried to persuade Mr. Fall to wait until the TRRC recommendations are delivered to the presidency. There is fear that his fit into the political environment will open a window of excuse on the side of the Ballarat government on full implementation of the TRRC recommendations. Some others say that his bid for the country's top job will compromise the validity of the 3-year job of the TRRC. Similarly, the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Babagale Jallow, who resigned in June, published what he called a manifesto of an unlikely candidate, as he looks ahead in terms of career matters. On the first part of this manifesto, he dispelled the rumor that he and a colleague from the TRRC are planning to jointly form a political party. However, the news that he might be considering running for president this year has an element of truth. As he contemplated in his manifesto, Dr. Babagale Jallow said it does not appear that he will run for president in the December poll due to a number of constraining circumstances. Reporting for iAfrican News, I am Hawan Jai.
Esafal to declare his candidature this evening. Now, vendors at the Latrikunda Sabiji market on Thursday revealed to iAfrica their concerns on what they called a very poor drainage infrastructure in the market. They called on KMC to consider fixing the unbearable market predicament to ensure hygiene and health for the public. Isa Jallow has the rest of that story.
The vendors' concern regard the exposure of waste resulting from the blockage of the drainage system around the Latrikunda Sabiji market. Such a basic waste management subject, they say, should have been a top priority for the Kanifing municipality, to whom they all paid rates and duties in return for area developments. Amisar cried over the condition, which she gave a perfect description.
Lena rag la gis man dafa nek sama problem. Moy ndax buy joge sil soko webi.
There is one thing I see, which is my problem. That is the filter water that floods in the market every day. Today, if you see you're able to conduct the interview, it's because some of the water has drained. Yesterday, this time, I even left my place and went to my sister's place. This is because my place was flooded with filthy water. Imagine the whole market has been filled with water, and people not able to commute correctly.
She called on the municipality to wake up from the slumber in view of the health hazard presented by the poor drainage in the heart of Gombo.
Duty man bi suba té 7 o'clock su ñëwé taxaw nga ne ko aw ma xaliss wala bala ma ba ci kanam sa du nangu daf la forcer ba yow jaral na la nga abasta morom.
Every day we pay tax. The duty man will come every single day and ask, even if you don't have the money, you'll try by all means and pay. The way they're forcing people to pay tax and their interest, they should do the same to help us here. You people are not the first to come and conduct interviews here. Every week media houses will come and we will explain, and still no changes.
Another vendor called Usman Jeng buttressed on the poor drainage system in the market, stating that it generates a very bad odor.
When the
toilet leaks, it smells very bad.
For now, you are lucky that you are able to stand here. But normally, the odor is so unbearable. We do pay our duties every single day, but still, no changes. We need support from KMC in order to make our work easier.
The issue of poor drainage system is not new, and the views adduced by Mrs. Sarr and Usman Jeng are a routine call for players in various markets within the Greater Banjul area. Little improvement is virtually what could be noted in the waste management program in the most crowded areas from the past to date. The situation does not only make it difficult for the market vendors, but also for customers who have to leap into the ditches and heaps of all waste over the market during the rainy season. Reporting for iAfrica News, Aisha Jallo.
Latrikunda Sabiji market vendors call for a proper drainage system. Now, the non-oil exports in Egypt have increased by 22% during the first 7 months of 2021 despite the coronavirus global pandemic. The rise is attributed to efforts done by the Egyptian government in supporting the sectors of production and exportation during the coronavirus crisis. Details in this report.
Non-petroleum exports in the North African state have been recovering in 2021, reaching $17.7 billion from about $14.55 billion in the first 7 months in 2020. Food, agricultural products and chemicals remained top of the list, but there are sectors that have grown at faster rates, such as medical production, which rose 44% due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, and textile exports, which jumped 45%.
What we are witnessing is an increase in demand after a slowdown in international trade due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Egypt is becoming a main supplier because it is closer to the EU and the US, the two largest markets. Targeting new markets is also important. Africa is a minute segment of our total exports, and therefore there should be more focus on it in the future, especially after the launch of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which is made up of 45 countries and about 1.3 billion people. It is a huge market that we should turn to, but it will need effort and time.
The largest recipient of Egyptian products are the EU and Arab states at about $5.5 billion each, while Africa stands at only $1.7 billion. Meanwhile, the government has been supporting producers to keep their factories operating and avoiding closures from the fallout caused by the pandemic.
There were some support programs aimed at small and medium enterprises. The central bank also provided funding at low 5% interest loans to industries. As board members in the Industries Federation, we are working with the government on solving a wide range of issues, like the very expensive fees slapped on factories from different government entities. Another problem is the complications we face when importing raw materials.
The government has also been providing tax incentives and subsidies to exporters to help them become more competitive in international markets and guarantee a further increase in exports.
Egypt's non-oil exports increased by 22%. Now from that report in Egypt, we head straight to Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe is set to increase its strategic grain reserves as the country recorded a 34% growth in the agricultural produce. The government is also working to ensure that the Grain Marketing Board has the needed infrastructure to accommodate the expansion of the grain reserves as the country expects a promising bumper harvest this year. Details in this report.
Heavy rains during the last farming season have led to a 34% jump in agricultural growth and have authorities projecting a bumper harvest.
In terms of maize, which is the staple strategic crop for the country, for Zimbabwe, we recorded 2.7 million metric tons against the national annual requirement of 2.2 million metric tons. So we have a surplus of plus minus 500 to 600,000 metric tons.
Authorities intend to build on the excess to restore and triple the strategic grain reserves, something that was not possible in recent years due to frequent droughts.
I'm sure it is not a once-off thing where we just one morning wake up, we have 1.5 million metric tons in our strategic grain reserves. That will have to be built over time. But as we do so, we need also to put in clear plans, step-by-step kind of planning, which will ensure that we get to that point, maybe over 3 or 5 years.
Those plans including building resilience against climate change by investing in irrigation and ensuring there are adequate storage facilities.
At the moment, they cannot handle the mobilized, production that we are talking about in terms of our targets, production targets per year. We do have a crisis that may come when you look at the grain, maize, and other small grains that have already been coming through to our storage facilities. Now, having the pressure to make room also for the wheat that is about to come.
To date, more than 783,000 tons of maize have been delivered to the Grain Marketing Board, eclipsing the 23,000 recorded during the same period last year.
The report in Zimbabwe will take us to our first break. Still to come, it's more local and international news, so stay tuned.
The Gambia has launched a national COVID-19 vaccination campaign by the Ministry of Health and supported by various partners using the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Health workers first received the vaccine, followed by other groups based on their health risks and the supply of vaccines over time. This COVID-19 vaccine has been approved by the World Health Organization, WHO, for people aged 18 and above. Each person should receive 2 doses of the vaccine, with the second dose coming no time later than 12 weeks after the first. The most common side effects are pain at the injection site and flu-like symptoms for up to 48 hours after injection. Serious reactions are very rare. We must continue wearing our clean masks, washing our hands frequently, maintaining physical distance, and limiting time we spend in crowded and enclosed spaces. The vaccine is safe and can help us get closer to ending the pandemic. For more information, please call 1025 from any network in the Gambia, free of charge.
This message is brought to you by the Gambia Red Cross Society and funded by the European Union.
The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details, are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, offers unique gated community with 3- and 4-bedroom villas and duplexes. Just 5 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. Luxury, convenience, and accessibility are some of the reasons you should consider this great housing opportunity. With a clubhouse, a playground, access roads, and parking facilities available for your dream home or a valuable investment, you will find all you need at Airport Residency here in Old Yundum.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is the news desk coming to you live on iAfrica TV. Now to the rest of our stories. While vendors are confronted with the challenge of making profit, consumers have to do their math in order to dress their tables with a piece of bread at least 2 times a day. Both groups complained of what they called the sharp rise in the prices of essential food items in different markets in the country. This trend had been observed in the last couple of months in what could be blamed on the impact of the COVID-19 global health crisis. Details in this report by Khadijatu Haita Haidara.
Ibrahima Diallo is one of the vendors at the Latrikunda market who took note of the upward slope of the prices of basic food items, especially that of oil and rice, both of which no household can do without. It is, he said, very costly for the average Gambian.
At this moment, price is very difficult because increase.
Prices at this moment are very expensive. Basic food items like onions, potatoes, especially oil and rice, are very costly. These are food items that people consume on day-to-day basis. Majority of Gambians consume oil daily. Its price has risen tremendously. The price of oil is too high and the customers are complaining.
For Morgay, the rise in food prices has stalled business activities because customers are finding it more difficult to do the needful in the market.
The rise in food items have affected business a lot because it has slowed down business. Consumers come to buy but cannot due to the constant rise in prices. These are hard times for us, the vendors, and also the consumers. The overall food prices have become too expensive.
Father Cham appeared to affirm the views on the cost of food commodities, adding that big families need the help of authorities to meet the challenges of a 3-square meal a day.
I am a regular customer here, and the prices of food items have remained expensive. Even today, I am here to shop, but the prices are still too expensive. The government should make sure that food items are affordable. The country has become too hard.
Commentators from the market during my visit to Latrikunda spoke based on either direct experience or their observation to the business traffic, rather than on quality survey. It is in fact common to find a buyer bargaining on price of a food commodity. This goes far enough to explain the level of poverty of the people. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Hadija Tohaita Toure.
Gambians raise concern with the hike in prices of essential food commodities. Now from that report in the Gambia, we head straight to Uganda because the advent of the coronavirus global pandemic has disrupted the treatment of patients who are diagnosed with cancer in Uganda. More than 34,000 people are diagnosed with cancer every year in the East African country, but only 7,000 of those are able to receive treatment. We have details of that in this report.
Titus Makoha is 15 years old. He is battling leukemia. His grandmother looks after him and says they traveled 250 kilometers from eastern Uganda, and this has been their home for the last 6 months.
He could not walk now. All the legs, he could not sit, he could not walk. So he was just to be carried. So he has improved. The color has come back, he has gained weight.
Titus was diagnosed with cancer of the blood after suffering from recurring fevers. The health centers near his home were not able to detect the disease.
You find that a lot of effort is made towards coming up with that diagnosis of malaria or HIV or TB, and then they miss the cancer. In most cases, by the time they think it is cancer already, it is months. The child is very sick, and the next thing, the child dies.
More than 34,000 people in Uganda are diagnosed with cancer every year, according to the country's Cancer Institute. But only 7,000 of those are able to start receiving treatment. The main barrier stopping more getting help is the distance between cancer treatment centers and their homes. But for those children who are correctly diagnosed, COVID-19 restrictions have made it more difficult to access treatment on time.
We have children presenting in the even later stage because they failed to access the cancer treatment site, which is Uganda Cancer Institute. 2, adherence to treatment. We have children who have failed to return for their appointments because COVID, lockdown, and other issues.
The common cancers in children are leukemia, lymphoma, cancer of the kidney, and cancer of the muscles. The Uganda Cancer Institute says every 100 new cases diagnosed here, 80 of them die majorly because they come late to the health facilities. This is mainly due to lack of access to cancer services within close proximity of the population. The government is now moving to set up 4 major cancer treatment centers in every part of the country. The centers will cater for treatment needs of rural communities, but the aim is also to reduce the number of preventable deaths each year, both through raising awareness and research.
5 out of 10 of the children that we receive with cancer, we actually cure them. But some of the barriers to curing children here is that they present to us in a very late stage. So stage 4, stage 3, where it is difficult to cure them, even if they were abroad.
After several rounds of chemotherapy, Titus is feeling much better and he may be going home soon. But many other cancer patients will have to endure more cold nights at the only treatment facility here in the capital until the rural cancer centers are complete and ready to take in patients.
Now, the advent of the coronavirus global pandemic has disrupted the treatment of patients diagnosed with cancer in Uganda. Well, that does it for the news with me, Julden Suare. But for more of these and others, you can join us in our subsequent news bulletins. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and do have a nice day. Bye-bye.